First of all, thank you for the invitation. I told you already, and thank you for the introduction, because this gives me some time to be more short in my presentation. When I was starting to work in the University of Eichstätt, I went into a program which was about inclusion with different chairs and everything. They were researching about schools and inclusion. And we had a special part because we had the connection between religion, spirituality, and inclusion. And I'm doing my PhD work in this special area. And I want to present you what we think about these questions and how we go on in this research and how far I am at the moment and the problems I face because of Corona, for example, that's what which has a bad impact actually on my research work. First, I thank Mr. Shaughnessy for your speech, because you mentioned a lot of things which we work very similar, like peer-to-peer teaching and also peer-to-peer feedback, which we use in a bigger audience of students, for example. Good. The introduction was quite well, because everything what I did is mentioned. So by all the professional issues in practice, teaching, and research. We have one special program which maybe can be interesting for also for the UK, Mrs. Ramadan, because we had a big research about the integration of survivors of human trafficking. And we had the first handbook of working with them in social work. But this is very special because we find these victims all over Europe, and this is very special. I was in the Middle East, especially in Jordan, when I worked for peace work, and now I work with refugees. I worked with refugees in Germany for more than 6 years. Actually, I quit this job and I'm only at the university. Okay, so. In private, I'm a father of 2 small children. It can happen that one of the kids will come in to say good night or to see what I'm doing. So don't feel interrupted. Okay. In my speech, I want to tell you the problem situation. It's out of the view of Germany, actually. So please, if you have similarities or differences in the school systems, in the systems of inclusion and whatever, this will be found by everybody from you, because you're from different countries. What I show you now is out of the view and the situation more or less in Germany, and maybe on a point of view of Europe. Okay, this is the content, and I will start. So as you see, we are a part of a big project. It means we had projects in digital research, in language teaching, in historical teaching, in music, participation, work, the process to find work, and things like this. And we, as the chair of social pedagogy, have been the part of spirituality and the spirituality as a resource of inclusion. I explain you later what this can be. Okay, what you say, so this is one of my poster presentations. You can get this later, because there you have more closer informations about literature and theoretical background. Okay, so what we are facing, especially in Germany, that we have a duty to proceed in successful inclusion. It means any child, any person should have the equal rights in education, at work, and wherever he or she goes. And this affects everybody, but especially we know women, people of color, people with migrant backgrounds, and in Germany, people with other religions, because we have a lot of problems in the system, which makes it more harder, for example, to find jobs as a Muslim person or something. So this affects many people in Germany. And in Germany, we started to have a closer look only on people with disabilities, but we are going on to widen this view into persons which are disabled by the system. It means because of systematic problems, they cannot reach their goals and they have no equal rights. We see a lot of barriers in the system, systematic and personal barriers, because we have old school system, which is more on deficits, which is more critical with students, which is not taking care about competencies and skills. And we have a typical, we can say, German view on otherness. It means everybody who is a bit different is not so good as the typical German, or what they think about it. So as a migrant, for example, you have a lot of problems to solve if you come to Germany. And especially if you're a refugee, then you have a lot of problems more. And this resistance is a big challenge, and is the research and everything which, or the most things which you find in research at universities is about to have inclusive school system, to have enough money to see what teachers can do, to see what parents can do, and how you have the solutions on the system. We have a big research gap when we face children and youngsters, because the question what their needs or their skills should be or could be to have more succeed in inclusive processes, we have nearly no research, especially in Germany. We have research about social skills, emotional skills, integration, but not on the skills of youngsters and children when they face their own possibilities to make inclusion successful. And this is the main question what we research, or I research, is which skills could help children in their systems of school or environment, like families and friends and peers, to have more inclusion. It means, can they take care about their own inclusion? Can they see if somebody else needs help or support? And how they can do it? And the other issue is, maybe religion and spirituality can play a role as a resource. It means, for example, they learn because of their religious leaders, like Jesus Christ or Muhammad ibn Rasulullah, to help them as an idol. Yeah, they say, I help people because Jesus helped people, for example. This is a very simple example, but we see this because we have a lot of examples in the religious education, and sometimes it plays a role. Especially we know that spirituality and religion play a good, important role for elder people and for migrants in Germany and in Europe. So we try to make a combination of these topics. Okay. Do you have a question, Michael? Or no?
Sorry, Simon?
You have a question, yes?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. So you mentioned our refugee problems, especially maybe beliefs and cultural difficulties. So what is Germany government effort about active citizenship about refugees?
That's a good question. We should ask the government.
Sorry,
but
sorry, no Merkel here.
Yeah, but it's very. We have the problem is as we face a surrounding of diversity in Germany, we have a very diverse government. It means on the main level, we have strong leaderships, which is in the middle of being humanitarian persons. And on the other hand, they have the right wings and nationalists who want, if they were in power, they would deport everybody who has the wrong skin color. It means that we have high tension in Germany, and we have a big law package which is for the refugees. And this is changing nearly the last 10 years. It was changing every year, maybe 2 or 3 times, because in the beginning it was very nicely, and the person had chances to get a positive asylum case. and to have legal status in Germany in the future. And when there were coming too many people, as they failed, because it was not too many. If you look in your country, as Turkey delivers more help to refugees than Germany, but the Germans, they say, oh, we have too many people in our country, which is not true, actually, if you just see the numbers. But we have these issues very, very often. And now at the moment, this issue is not so important because all the nationalists and the right wings, they face the COVID-19 pandemic problems, and they will open up the problem after the pandemic. So, we wrote an English article about the German system of integration of refugees. So if you contact me, I think you are at ResearchGate. I saw you already, Mr. Rizai. So you can contact me and I will send you this article.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Because it's also the only English article about German work with refugees which is written at the moment.
Yeah. Sorry, I have attended a few meeting and study visit in Italy, in Finland, in Georgia about refugees and difficulties and cultural conflict, blah blah blah. So I understand you very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so but it will fit together because we with the right view on inclusion, also refugees and migrants are faced because they face different problems, but they face systematic problems.
Yeah.
This is for us. I try to involve all those persons in my research. So the hypothesis is very clear then, or not very clear, but it's given. So we have certain competences in children that enable them to have successful inclusion for their own or for others. And as a lot of research is already presented in emotional, social, and intercultural skills, we postpone them into the topic of social skills. And for us, inclusively competent children can recognize and articulate their own social and emotional needs and those of others. This is very important. It's not about their own issues, also the other issues. And they use their own abilities and skills to help other children and to express if help is needed. This is the topic what we talk about. And we had one main question and 3 sub-questions to go on with the research. I quit this because this is something you can read later. And we had 3 stages of research. We had the theoretical part and conception. And then we had the operationalization of the skills and competences. And then we did a qualitative research. And this is something which we did, which is part of the so-called inclusive research. We asked children as experts about their relation and experience in inclusive settings. And we did not make any difference between children with special education needs, with migration backgrounds or something. So we had a lot of, I talked with about 30 children and some parents, also as experts of their children. And then we were doing focus groups with experts in schools and in special education schools and in children and orphan homes and in youth work to complete the concept of inclusive skills. And what we did afterwards was to produce a questionnaire out of theoretical inputs of social competence, emotional competencies, intercultural competencies, and spirituality as a human resource. And then we had a model to check it out later, to do some descriptional solutions and to research with the questionnaire. And this was in 3 dimensions, like inclusive sensibility, to be sensitive about inclusion at all and the needs, the performance, the acting, and in the end, as a result and output, the quality of inclusion, which can be measured in quality of life and happiness and health at the end. And the religious attitude and the spirituality can be a moderating factor on these issues. So with this theoretical model, I had a questionnaire with around for parents and children. And this is going on, and I will show you now. After the theoretical input and the input of the focus groups, we could get a more specified hypothesis. And now at the moment, we are counting the bills, so to say, we count the questionnaires, and we think we will find out a lot of good things. And at the moment, I see that my items are quite strong. We had a questionnaire for parents and children, that's what I wanted to say, with which we took from items from other scales, around 53 items, and then to get some validations of the outcome and the output, we had 11 items of quality of life and 7 items of religion and spirituality. And there were 3 own items for religion and spirituality included, and 13 own items for the inclusive performance. So we have a huge and big package of scale and items. And the problems we face, or which are the limitations of my research, was the first of all was Corona in 3 times. We had no access to school. We had no access to students, and we had no access to governmental support, which should be given in these times. But when they went the first lockdown in Germany in March, they quit also research and studies. So we wanted to visit the schools in person, which was denied after our questions. And so I have at the moment, we switched over then in an online questionnaire. And I have around 300 students which answered the whole questionnaire, but it was assisted, so the parents or teachers could help them because it was too big. And we have too much items at the moment. And what we do now is to try to find out if we can get an external validation of my scale, because at the moment, we are counting it, and I hope I get the results in January or in late January or February. And then we want to consolidate the scale into a smaller scale, just to use the items which are very good. And then maybe later we want to have international validation when we use the items in English, because at the moment it's in German. Okay. So if I see the watch, I have my 20 minutes done. I thank you very much.